Okay, well, good evening. I'm Ellen Himmelreich. I'm Director of Alumni Relations at Amara College, and we welcome you this evening to this call with President Lindsay, who will be giving us an update. I just want to thank you all for joining us and taking time this evening to be here. First, I'd like to give you just a few updates from the Office of Alumni Relations. Want to let you know we are preparing for one of the favorite traditions here on campus. The Octagon Fair will be held on October 16th. Our class groups are really excited to be participating in this year. Some of them, this will be the first time that they're able to do that. And we have over 60 community vendors registered so far. So it's going to be a great event. So I want to let you know that that tradition continues here at EC. Also a reminder that Reunion 2022 will be held June 23rd through the 26th. Save the dates will be going out relatively soon, so mark your calendars, and hopefully we can all get together in June of 2022. And always just know that you can reach out to the Office of Alumni Relations if we can assist you in any way, or if you're interested in hosting an event or speaking about possibilities in your area. So please reach out to us. It's now my pleasure to welcome President Lindsay, who will give the Amara College update. President Lindsay.
Thanks, Ellen, and good evening, everyone. It's great to have the chance to chat with you for a few minutes. And as I understand it, we will have questions at the end. Of course, only the questions that I want to answer. So we've had a very positive beginning to the academic year. And one of the reasons for that is because we've got a brand new team in place. A robust and talented group of vice presidents who are working with me in several different departments. And so now I think we've really got a great complement of people who are really dedicated to the cause and are going to move the institution forward. So that's one of the reasons I'm excited. And so one of the members of that team is Mr. Wade Hart. And he is heading up Alumni Relations and Advancement. So I just say a thing or two about Wade. He has extensive experience in development work, in major gifts. His background is working at DeUville College, Niagara University, and Buffalo State. So I believe he's on the call with us, and I wanted him just to check in and introduce himself.
Thanks, Chuck. Yeah, hi, hello, everybody. Great to be here. Great to be at Elmira College. I'm starting on my fourth week here. Things are moving along nicely. Really happy, and as Chuck just mentioned, I feel the same. I think we've got a great staff here. We've got some great energy. Looking forward to working with the staff as well as the alumni base. Very optimistic. Things that I've seen and heard so far really have been positive. So again, just really happy to be here, and hello to everybody, and thanks for joining us this evening.
Thanks a lot, Wade. There's also another new member of the Alumni Relations and Advancement team, and her name is Angela May. She's serving as the Director of Major Gifts. Her background includes working as the Executive Director of the Corning Community College Foundation. And then before that, she was also in development work at Arnott Hospital. So I'd invite Angela to come on for a second and say hello.
Good evening, everybody. Hi, nice to see all of you here tonight. Yeah, I'm really excited to be part of the advancement team here at Elmira College. I've been here for about a week and a half, so a week and a half into it, but I see some great opportunities and ready to get started and excited about it. So thank you.
So great. Those are just two members of the team that are really interested in reaching out, listening to you, learning about Elmira College traditions, and helping to push the ball forward. So, and I think their other job is to make me look good, although that's going to take quite a bit of effort. So I'm really delighted we're back with in-person classes, in-person instruction, and on-campus events. As you know, most of last year was done remotely. We had to suddenly go remotely on about October 1st, and then we did transition back to in-person classes again last spring. But for the majority of the year, we were doing things remotely. There was no athletic season to speak of, except a very abridged one, again, in the spring of last year. And so we were able to welcome students on campus, a lot of energy around that. We had the traditional welcome service where we handed out beanies to students, not ball caps, beanies to students. We hosted Mountain Day after the students showed an appropriate amount of enthusiasm. And we're looking forward, as Ellen said, to Octagon Fair coming up. And we're also going to have a number of the other Elmira College traditions, holiday banquet, etc. Now, we have to balance all the events that we host on campus with making sure that we maintain safety in terms of the COVID virus. And so as we watched things happen in the late summer, I made the decision to move towards mandatory vaccinations for all students and employees. Everyone is expected to be vaccinated by October 8th. And we gave them a grace period because we really felt that we didn't want to spring anything on anyone at the last minute. Of course, students had to arrive with a negative test result from the past few days. And we also introduced a number of protocols on campus, required masks inside and that sort of thing. And I have to say, I have to express appreciation to the campus community. Everyone has done a great job complying. And I can report that as of this past Monday, 90% of all full-time employees are vaccinated, and 96% of all students have submitted a proof of vaccination. So that's great. We did, I would anticipate a question, did we lose any students because we decided to require vaccinations? Yes, that is true. We lost a total of 4. One was a new student and 3 were returning students. So I can also report that we have had very few positive cases on campus. 1 student since the beginning of the year has tested positive, 0 employees, and 2 Parkhurst employees. Parkhurst is our dining services manager, and that's a separate category because they're not our employees. And I really attribute that again to people on campus following the guidelines we have, and also to the random testing that the Clark Health Center and the athletics staff are doing to keep everyone safe. It's a big effort to do this random testing every week, but I really feel it's helped us to keep a handle on what's going on with COVID-19. So that's the medical report. I'd also like to say that we're now in year 2 of our 5-year strategic plan to move the institution forward. And I think many of you are aware, we're talking about transforming the institution by offering an education that touches on several areas: the traditional foundation in the liberal arts, professional skills, and then hands-on experience. This generation of college students wants to see clear pathways. They want to see a clear path towards their career goal, towards graduate school. And so we're about renovating the curriculum so that it meets that particular need. And so you probably are familiar with some of the new programs that have been introduced recently: environmental science, sustainability. Certainly you've heard about the Tommy Hilfiger Fashion Business School, the healthcare management major, all of those designed to be able to serve that need, to be a clear pathway towards the student's goal. That's what's really generating interest among students these days. And if a college needs to create a unique brand, and that's part of the brand that we're offering. Of course, you know that traditionally the institution, the college has always empowered people, I think, to be independent thinkers, to forge their own way. That's part of the tradition, going way back to when we were an all-women's institution and we were connected with the women's suffrage movement. A lot of energy around that, and I must say that the graduates that I meet who graduated before 1970, they have a lot of spunk. And they let me know it whenever they come back for reunion or I have the chance to talk to them. There's also a number of positive financial indicators that we're beginning to turn the corner. Our revenue per student last year was up over the year before. We collected gifts that were above what we had budgeted for slightly. And our auditors who came in and gave us what's called a clean audit or an unqualified opinion. And we expect them to do the same thing for the most recent audit, which is just finishing up in the next couple of weeks. And for the current academic year, we expect to break even on our operations. So all of that was accomplished with a lot of effort on a lot of people's part. It involved some prudent expense reductions and also focusing on where we can generate additional revenue. Now, of course, last year was an anomaly. It was quite an unusual year. And we know that it's not really a benchmark for moving forward. The main message I want to give is that we're trending positive, but we're not quite out of the woods yet. We had a smaller number of new students enroll than we expected this fall. And while we're certainly able to balance the budget, as I mentioned, it's not a long-term sustainable situation. And so this is one of the things I'll emphasize at the end of my remarks, that one of the things you can do is support the institution. And we'll talk about some of the ways that you can do that. One of the ways that we're investing in the institution is looking at introducing some additional academic programs. We are looking at a master's in communication sciences and disorders, speech and hearing, a master's in special education, and then concentrations in graphic design, in art therapy, and in sports management. And you may think there's a lot of expenses associated with those programs, but the reality is that most of the coursework was already at the institution, and it's a matter of collecting it and organizing it into a program that students can pursue. I mentioned at the beginning that we have a number of new senior officers or staff members, and I did introduce you to Wade. We also have a new provost, head of academic programs. Her name is Dr. Patricia Ireland. She comes most recently from Mount Aloysius College in Pennsylvania. We also have a new CFO. Her name is Kathy McDermott, and she served at the University of Arkansas, Fort Smith, and spent many years in finance at New York University, at NYU. And then lastly, I'll mention that we have a new VP of Enrollment Management, and his name is Eric Sykes, and most recently, he was the Vice President of Enrollment Management at Quinnipiac University in Connecticut, and he was responsible there for increasing their new student enrollment by 20%. He does data analytics, and he's exactly what we need in that area for examining our situation and finding the critical points in students' decision-making process about where to apply, when to apply to college, and influencing their behavior. I'll just mention quickly that we have a number of new coaches on the staff. They're all coming in with a lot of energy and enthusiasm. Most notably, new coaches in men's soccer, in basketball, and for the baseball program. And it's exciting to go most recently to volleyball and soccer competitions, been to several. And I can't say that we're at the top of the league, but I can say that we are competitive and we're about in the middle of the bunch. So it's fun to go sometimes and see the women and the men score and win. So a lot of enthusiasm for athletics. And I'm also looking forward, lastly, to Hoops Hysteria, which is going to be coming up in several weeks, where we celebrate winter sports. So maybe I'll stop there and Ellen, let you take it over in terms of questions.
Yes, thank you. You did address some of the questions that had been submitted previously, but we have had a few other ones given in. So let me start with those. One of our alums is asking, what is the biggest challenge that the college is facing today?
You know, the biggest challenge that we face is one that all small private colleges are facing. You may know that there are upwards of 1,500 small private colleges in the country. And the thing is to actually make people understand what's different and unique about Elmira College and why that serves them. And so Jen Swain, who's Vice President of Communications and Marketing, and a number of us are looking at ways that we are emphasizing the distinctive nature of an Elmira College education. But that's a really tough road to hoe. It's a marketplace that has many, many different suppliers. And so the competition is pretty tremendous. Coupled with that, you've got a declining demographic in the Northeast. So you have fewer traditional age students. Now, there are students from lower income groups and minority groups that still have robust populations. And what we're looking at is pivoting towards a more pluralistic campus where we serve a wider variety of students of color. And we certainly have students of color now, but we need to do a better job in retaining them. So it's that broad subject, I would say, is the biggest challenge for Elmira College and many other schools.
Okay. Moving on to our next question. There have been some changes in the athletic teams. Will some of the former teams, for instance, men's and women's tennis, return to EC in the future?
Oh, interesting. You mentioned men's and women's tennis in particular. I'm a tennis player of sorts. So if anyone in the local area wants to challenge me, we'll talk. The reality is with athletic programs, what we need to do is look at all of them in terms of their contribution. Are they sustainable? And so I really can't give a specific comment about whether a particular sport would come back. We're looking at the current athletic offerings, and it may be that some of them won't be here in the long term. It depends on roster size. It depends on the expenses associated with a sport. The NCAA requires you to have a minimum number of sports teams, and we're certainly going to maintain that. But the question is, which ones bring in the largest enrollment? And I just think that's a reality that we're dealing with right now. So could tennis come back? Yes, it could come back if it looks like we've got the right alignment in terms of revenue and expenses.
Great. I think I'm hearing that you'll be the coach too. Is that correct?
I don't know if I was volunteering for that, but.
Okay. Next question is, what are your fundraising goals and priorities for the fiscal year 22? And also curious about the market demand for things like the fashion school. I don't know if you maybe Wade can address the fundraising priorities.
Go ahead, Wade.
There we go. I couldn't get unmuted there. Yeah, the goal for this year is 1.150, and that's we believe that's a very realistic goal, very attainable goal. And with that, we have a well planned out approach for this year's annual campaign, along with a nice plan in the alumni side of things. So obviously this year is different from last year. We're really looking and hoping to do more interactive face-to-face and less on the Zoom side. So feel very strongly that's going to benefit us and contribute to us reaching our goal.
Okay. Chuck, do you want to speak a little bit about the fashion school and the demand that is there for that?
Yeah, we're talking student demand, I would imagine.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, so we just announced the Tommy Hilfiger Fashion Business School in April. So we missed last year's recruiting cycle. In earnest now, we're going to be promoting it this year. There still are a couple of students enrolled anyway right now who came to the institution because of the Fashion Business School. We have an event actually where we're going to have a press conference on campus October 22nd that will feature Tommy Hilfiger, and he'll be arriving with some family members, and we'll be talking about the Tommy Hilfiger Gallery that'll feature some paraphernalia from his career. We'll be talking about the Fashion Business School and doing a big promotion because we have expectations for how many students we're going to enroll. And I believe the goal is 20 students. I may be off on that, but 20 students for next fall in that program. We also are partnering with an international recruiter to find international students who might be interested in the program.
Okay, great. You touched on this a little bit, but there's a specific question about what is the current enrollment picture, new students who are returning, and how does that correlate to the college's enrollment goals?
We're about 40 students off from where we would expect to be. We're right at around 700 students right now. And that's, as I said, not sustainable. And let's see, what else would I say about that? Our projections for next year show that there will be an increase, assuming that we have all the parts working together. And so, as I mentioned, we've bottomed out, but we're not quite out of the woods yet. Our estimate is that an enrollment of about 850 students is break even. So we can certainly survive where we are right now with current operations and plant, but long term, we need to increase the enrollment by about 150 students.
Okay. Another question is, have we seen any impact from the New York State free tuition, the Excelsior scholarships?
Well, a couple of reactions to that. It's very hard to draw a line specifically from the Excelsior Scholarship Program to enrollment. But indirectly, I'd say, yes, there has been an impact, and it's had an impact on people's thinking. Not just Excelsior, but the bill that's being considered by Congress right now includes the idea of free community college for people across the country. And what it does is get people thinking that, oh, I should get this product for free. And So it makes them much more price sensitive, and it makes it more challenging for us when we have the conversation about the quality of the academic programs. If somebody thinks, well, there's a free alternative, the conversation is that much more difficult. So to trace it right back to Excelsior, a little bit tough, but the overall atmosphere now is questioning as to whether anyone should pay anything for a college education. Now, I will use the opportunity, Ellen, to say that I think the Excelsior program wasn't launched well, and that to call it free tuition was really a misnomer, because the maximum a student could get was a little over $6,000. And even if you're going to a community college, you're going to be paying more than that. So free, the moniker free was a bit liberally used, and I don't think it truly represented what the Excelsior Scholarship was providing.
Okay, thank you. Here's just a little note. It's not a question, but a note, a big kudos to Elmira for small class sizes and caring and knowledgeable professors. So that was just a nice comment. Thank you. Another question, are any buildings or student housing updates part of the upcoming strategic plan action items? And yes, hello, Jean Ryan. It's nice to have you on the call.
We are having a conversation about what the long-term plans should be for buildings. Right now, we're looking to allocate more funds towards depreciation and maintenance. We need that in a couple of critical areas. We've created some priorities. The one building that I'll tell you is going to be coming back online very shortly is Hamilton Hall, which was the original library that's at the corner of 7th Street, no, Washington and College Avenue. And that will house the Tommy Hilfiger program and gallery. And so that's the initial investment in buildings for right now. And the senior leadership team is going to be talking about that over the next several months and making a presentation by spring to the Board of Trustees about what the longer term priorities should be for a capital campaign that we hope to launch in a couple of years.
Okay, great. Looks like the questions have slowed down a bit, so we're going to wrap things up with this final question, which is the $1 million question. What is the best and most helpful thing that alumni can do to help EC?
Oh, great. Okay. The way you introduced that question, you had me shaking in my boots. And now the big question.
It's
anyway.
positive. It's positive.
Okay, it's a positive. I think there's two ways that well, first of all, I really appreciate the alum of this institution. As I've said before, you're a spirited bunch, and I like it. It's a wonderful group to be with, and I just feel privileged to participate in helping to build Elmira College's future, particularly that you all are involved. So I'll just say that I really appreciate the energy and enthusiasm you bring. The two ways I believe that you could really do something now are alumni can sign up, and maybe Ellen, you want to say something about this, but there's a website, Alumni Fire, where alum can be mentors, they can provide internships, they can help with career preparation and transition for our current undergraduates. And that's something I know a lot of people talk about. They want to connect with the students, and this is a way that you really can and make a difference for them as they make the transition from the world of education to work. So any specifics on that one, Ellen?
Well, the Alumni Fire is an exciting new platform that we are using, and we're working with career services. So it's a great collaboration there. It is a way for our alums to connect with current students, but also the other side of that is to connect with other alums in your area or in your career field. there's a lot of variety and ways to connect. So it's a great opportunity not only to encourage students, maybe note internships, mentorships, job postings, but also if you're moving to a new area and you want to know if any alums are in the area, it's a great way to throw that net out and you'll be able to see who's in your new area there. So everybody should have gotten an email on that announcing that program. If you have any questions, please just reach out to me. We can resend that if you didn't see it. But encourage everybody to participate in that. And like Chuck said, that's a great way to participate and support EC.
And then the second area I'll mention is certainly providing gifts. And I'll put them in two categories. Unrestricted gifts, where it's simply a gift to the institution that's not earmarked towards anything in particular. A gift to the annual fund really makes a difference to us. As Wade mentioned, we have a goal this year of 1.15 million, and we need to achieve that in order to make sure that we're paying the bills on the operating budget. So any gifts to the annual fund are greatly appreciated. We do also have specific funds that are geared towards particular needs. I'll give an example of one. We are emphasizing the opportunity that we give for undergraduate research. Undergraduate students who go off to the Bahamas with a faculty member or locally conduct scientific research and get the opportunity to do the analysis and publish it sometimes in a journal. And that kind of intense learning experience, you just can't beat it. And so we have had some foundations make pledges that they will support undergraduate research if we can find some other donations to match. So if you're interested in the sciences and the kind of education that they provide, that would be a great opportunity and something that we're emphasizing.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you, President Lindsay, for hosting this event and opening it up and giving an update to our alums. I want to thank all of our alumni who have joined the call, and thank you for your support. That is truly appreciated. We will be having another event similar to this probably in early spring, late spring, so look for that. And I look forward to seeing you at events via Zoom or whether they be in person. Feel free to reach out to the Office of Alumni Relations if I can assist you with anything, and have a good night. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.